Mediators also face challenges. They are there to resolve disputes. They are there to facilitate the process of mediation between two disputing parties. And remember, mediators often face conflicts during mediation process. They face challenges. And what are those challenges the mediator face? Bias and neutrality. Maintaining neutrality can sometimes be challenging, especially if one party seems more reasonable or if the mediator has prior relationship or opinions. Another challenge a mediator faces is lack of trust. Parties may not trust the mediator or they may not trust each other at all, making it hard to communicate openly or to cooperate. Emotional tension is another challenge that the mediator encounters during mediation process. Strong emotions like anger, fear, or resentment can block productive dialogue and escalate conflict also. Another challenge mediators face is power imbalance. One party may seem that he has authority or wealthy or he or she is influential in the society. And sometimes it can lead to unfair outcome or intimidation. It's a challenge. When there is power imbalance, you have a higher authority, someone who feels that he's so influential is where he has money or he or she has money or he has power, and you think you can intimidate others because of the physical material things you possess. So you think I'm very influential, I can intimidate others with money or with your wealth. So it's power imbalance is a challenge mediators face. Another challenge mediators face is poor communication. Misunderstanding, language barriers, or unwillingness to listen can hinder mediation progress. Hidden agenda is another challenge mediators face in the mediation process. Some parties might not truly want peace, but they use mediation to delay or manipulate the process. So they can be tricky. So hidden agenda is a challenge mediators encounter when parties have a hidden agenda in the mediation process. Cultural differences is another challenge mediators face. Different values, traditions, communication styles can impact or can cause misinterpretations and resistance in the mediation process. Lack of commitment is another challenge mediators encounter in the mediation process. Even after agreement, some parties may not follow through with what has been decided, even when the outcome were being determined by disputing parties. Sometimes the parties might default in the process, and that can also be a challenge the mediator faces. Insufficient skills and trainings. A mediator with adequate trainings in negotiation, psychology, cultural sensitivity may struggle to manage complex conflicts. External pressure. Political, social, institutional influences may limit the mediator's independence or parties' freedom to decide. Every challenge has its own solution also. So how can mediators overcome some of these challenges I mentioned already? I'll give some few strategies the mediator can use to overcome these challenges. One of them is maintaining neutrality. Neutrality is one of the principles of mediation. You must be neutral. You don't side the parties in the mediation process. So you must maintain neutrality. You must be transparent as a mediator about your roles and avoid showing favoritism. Use neutral languages. Give equal attention to both parties. Before the mediation, you've already explained in the opening statement about your role as a mediator. You've educated the parties about the principles of mediation. You've let the parties know what is your role and their roles in the mediation process. That way, you must be conscious of yourself in maintaining neutrality, not siding anybody at all. You must show transparency. If bias is being suspected, acknowledge it or openly take corrective action as a mediator. That's why you must be self-conscious about your own self as a mediator. And another way you can overcome the challenges mediator face is building trust. You have to build trust. Establish confidentiality and explain the mediation process very clearly to the parties. Remember, confidentiality is another principle in the mediation process. So you must make sure you explain to the party that the mediation process is very highly confidential. Show respect, empathy, and use active listening. Be consistent and fair in all your dealings throughout the mediation process. That way you can build trust. Managing emotion is a way to overcome the challenges. Allow parties to express their feelings without judgment. Use techniques like private sessions to calm high emotions, tensions in the mediation process. Encourage empathy by helping each other side understand their perspective. And you must balance the power. You must balance power in difference. Give equal opportunity for each party to speak. Provide support or advocacy for weaker party when necessary. No, it's not like you're showing bias, but you set ground rules to prevent domination or intimidation from the party who feels that he or she is influential or he or she has wealth or he has authority in the society. So you must set ground rules. Those rules you remind the both parties in the mediation so that the one with higher power wouldn't have a domineering attitude or showing domination or intimidation to the weaker party. So the ground rules will help the both party to balance power, and the mediator reminds the both parties the ground rules already set and before the mediation starts, so they could be able to respect the rules in the mediation process. You must improve communication. Use clear and simple languages. Rephrase, summarize points the parties have raised to ensure understanding. Encourage active listening and discourage interruptions in the mediation process. You must learn to uncover hidden agenda as a mediator. How do you uncover those hidden agendas the parties came with? Then you must learn to ask open-ended questions to explore their motives. Focus on the discussions, on interests rather than the positions. Keep communication transparent and focus on solutions. You must learn to handle the cultural differences in the mediation process as a mediator. Learn about the cultural backgrounds of the parties, so you won't come in between their cultural beliefs. Be respectful of parties' traditions and their communication norms. You must learn to educate yourself about their traditions. What they feel is respect to them. You have to know about it. Use culturally appropriate examples and languages. You must ensure commitment. You must be realistic. You must detail agreement as being explained by parties. Involve parties in drafting resolution, increased ownership. Whatever you write, you explain to the parties when they've come to a reasonable agreement or they have a final outcome. Improve your mediation skills, engage in continuous training and assessment. Learn about negotiations, psychology, peace building techniques, seek mentorship, improve practice. Because every profession have their own challenges and you must learn the way to navigate these challenges and overcome them as a mediator. Resolving dispute is not really easy like most people think. Sitting in front of two disputing parties or warring parties, trying to calm them down to discuss. Most people think our mediation is informal, is less informal. No, until you witness it by yourself and you try to handle a dispute between two parties who are in high tense and motion, till you will be able to understand that trying to facilitate communication between two warring parties, it's not really easy as you think. Just remember, there are challenges in every profession. The most important thing is how do you learn to overcome those challenges? So it's very important. The mediator comes to the mediation process with a calm mind, approach the mediation process, being self-aware, leaving your own troubles behind because you're trying to resolve another problem before you. So you don't come with your own emotions to the mediation. At the moment, you drop your own worries, your own troubles, and face the parties at the moment. So as a mediator, you also have high emotions, anger, fear, frustrations, but with self-consciousness and being aware of your own emotions also can help you manage the emotions of others, especially the disputing parties in front of you. Ask a mediator.